Across live now to John Robbins. He is the executive director of the Council on American Islamic Relations. He joins us now live. John, I just would like to get your impressions of that speech, which I feel safe saying many will label highly Islamophobic.
Well, unfortunately, and thank you for having me tonight. Unfortunately, these kind of political grandstanding gestures in the wake of such horrific accidents and such horrific incidents are no more than efforts to divide. They're efforts to use anger and fear as a tool for bringing Americans apart. We reject this kind of divisive rhetoric. We do not feel that the issue is with some kind of abstracted version of Islam, when the millions of peaceful American Muslims are living their lives and are expressing their deep, deep, deep offense and their deep horror at these kind of actions.
John, what will you do then as a community leader if you see Donald Trump genuinely gaining the kind of popularity that could make him the next president of the United States?
Well, we are a nonpartisan nonprofit, but I can tell you that this kind of rhetoric has unfortunately become very widespread within our country. It's deeply troubling to see a large segment of the population who genuinely seem to feel that there is not a place for Muslims within our society. And unfortunately, this does include the reality that there are already millions and millions of Muslims within America who are doctors, lawyers, engineers, pharmacists, cab drivers, electricians, and teachers. They're already a meaningful fabric of our society. And by saying that Islam somehow hates America, or that there is some kind of intrinsic opposition between being Muslim and adhering to American laws or American values, this places a large segment of the population in very real jeopardy each day. So for us, it's deeply concerning to hear this kind of language and rhetoric.
And the core of his speech there was what he claimed as the dysfunctional immigration system in the United States. And then he went on to tie that into the shooter in the Orlando attack. But because that shooter was indeed an American citizen, he went on to say that the father was actually the problem. He had been a Muslim immigrant decades ago and a man that supported the Afghan Taliban. How dangerous do you find these kinds of statements?
Well, unfortunately, they're grossly inflammatory toward a community that presents a far, far, far lesser threat to the American public than individuals who are coming from white supremacist or white nationalist backgrounds. Individuals from these sort of backgrounds are much more likely to commit dangerous actions which actually would violate the rights and harm Americans than others. For example, this leaves out similar shootings in Colorado or North Carolina late last year, which also had great tolls and were motivated but were carried out by white attackers. There are no similar calls to investigate churches. There are no similar calls to investigate immigrants coming from Ireland or the UK several generations back because they may harbor dangerous ideas.
Is there any common ground that your community finds with the Trump campaign?
Well, there are certainly some Muslims who are saying that they are pro-Trump, and certainly individuals will vote all kinds of ways. We obviously share any kind of concern with the safety and security of America's borders and with the safety and security of American citizens. We just don't feel that this kind of politics of division is the way to go about it. We feel that's only going to inflame tensions with the Muslim world and is ultimately going to have a long-term negative effect, that it's the trade-off of short-term political gain for long-term security, and that ultimately is not a fair bargain.
Okay, John Robbins, we're going to leave it there for now. Thank you so much for joining us with your insight from